I came here. That's here.
They already good morning, everybody. So we're gonna get started. It's 9:01. So welcome to our, what is it, May meeting, May Livable Neighborhoods meeting. I appreciate you all being here. It's fun to see people in person when you can be here, but I understand the convenience of Zoom. So somebody mentioned, Paul mentioned biscuits and gravy. So if somebody wants to sign up for biscuits and gravy next time. So we'll go ahead and get started. We've got Hannah Connor here from the Public Health Department to talk about the Community Health Assessment and Urban Heat Island map. You're welcome to come up here if you'd like.
And I can see the slides over there.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Connor. Some of you may have seen me several times in the past 24 hours. And I actually did give this presentation a little bit yesterday, and I got to present to the commissioners a couple of weeks ago. So thank you all for taking the time to listen to me present it here again today. So essentially what I'm here to talk about is our community health assessment. I'm going to talk for hopefully 15 minutes so I can leave some time for questions because I'm sure there will be. It's a lot of material to cover. And then towards the end, I'm going to sneak in a little bonus material, which is an urban heat island map that we're doing later in the summertime. All right. So if we want to move on to our, there we go. Great. So this is kind of what I'm going to go over today. If you need to stop me between any of the transitions for a question or a clarification, feel free to do that. But I'm going to go over our trial process, the methodology, some of the health outcomes that we see in Wyandotte County, the concerns and barriers that we gleaned from the health assessment, and then all right, so first of all, what is a community health assessment? I'm going to call it a CHA from now on. So basically, it is a snapshot of the health of Wyandotte County. We collected data from a variety of sources, both primary and secondary. So we got a lot of data from community members, people like you. We also got it from community partners. We also looked at national databases like the census, things like that. And we do this every 5 years because department as of 2021. That helps us keep our accreditation. Please. All right, great. I'm going to talk about our methods just a little bit. So like I said, we had primary and secondary data. So our primary data were community concern survey that went out to 7,000 households. We got 1,150 back. We had 5 community forums, 4 were in person and 1 was virtual. We tried to have these across the county. And then we did 14 focus groups in conjunction with community partners. And then, like I said, we collected secondary data from national sources and databases. And then here's a rough timeline of how we operated, but what you need to know just from looking at this is that it was a 15-month process. We really went into depth to make sure that we got a lot of feedback on all our materials that we sent out and took a lot of time to get appropriate trainings and things like that completed. So really quickly, I'm going to be mostly going over our community concern survey, which is that 7,000 surveys that went out and we got 1,150 responses. And they were representative of Wyandotte County across race, across age, ethnicity, income, and education. However, the only thing that it was not representative across was our households with children. There are 31% of our households in Wyandotte County with children, and we only got 21% in our survey, probably just because of the busyness of things. Right. So, and this is what shook out as our top concerns and barriers. This came from mostly our first and second questions, which just straight up asked, what is your top health concern in Wyandotte County? And then what is the top barrier to getting healthy in Wyandotte County? And these were the results in order, and I will flesh these out a bit more throughout the presentation. But before I do that, I kind of want to talk about, oops, my boss was not able to make it today. I apologize. Normally she covers this section, but I will talk about health outcomes just a little bit. So the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation does a thing called County Health Rankings every year, where it compares the health of counties across America, and then also within states. And what we see kind of almost every year is that Wyandotte falls towards the bottom. So it's 103 out of 104 counties for Kansas for health factors, and kind of the last for health outcomes, and then the last for health factors. One thing to note for this is that Kansas overall is getting healthier. So now that seems really depressing. If we all get healthy at the same time and we're still towards the bottom, it doesn't mean we haven't gotten healthier. It just still means we're at the bottom. So just a grain of salt with that. And then just quickly, our top causes of death, they were pretty standard. COVID-19 for 2018 to 2020 was one of the top 3 causes, and that was nationally. It did hit our Hispanic community really hard. If you can see from 2018 to 2020, COVID-19 was the top cause of death. One other thing I want to note on here that is abnormal and something that we want to work on as a county is that homicide was in the top 5 causes of death for our Black and Hispanic communities. Quickly, I want to go over our just life expectancy rates. What I want to point out here is that there are discrepancies in our life expectancy rates. So the overall life expectancy is 74.7, which is lower than Kansas and lower than the United States. There's also differences amongst race, and that's something that we need to take note of in the future. We see our Hispanic life expectancy at 82 and our Black life expectancy at 71.3. And additionally, there is some variation across our census tract. So towards the eastern end, there is lower life expectancy, and towards the western end, there is higher life expectancy. So that's really important to note as we are making a built environment that facilitates good health for everybody in the county. All right, so I'm going to jump into some of those health concerns that I touched on earlier. That #1 health concern is community violence. That was overwhelmingly the #1 health concern in Wyandotte County. 62% of survey respondents named it as #1. Another 38% said that violence is also a barrier to being healthy. Slide, please. Perfect. It's also currently a CHIP area. So we have some of our partners here today. Like I said, Moxa is here. They're helping us with Wyandotte County lead some community violence projects. But we see from what we see on the results also is that 56% of survey respondents felt extremely safe during the day, and 40% only feel safe at night. So there's some safety that we can continue to improve through various means. The second biggest health concern was substance misuse. This is something that's been going up in Wyandotte County, again, same as nationally, but we've had some barriers such as our one inpatient facility was closed last year, so that's something that we should probably look into as a county as well. The third biggest health concern was mental health. A majority of the respondents of the survey said that they or somebody in their household did currently have a mental illness such as depression or anxiety. We also asked if COVID had impacted people's mental health, and a significant number said yes, COVID did impact health, which makes sense because of the fear, panic, isolation, things like that. Additionally, for mental health, we saw in one of our questions that there was a high demand for mental health services. When we asked what is the thing that you need for your community's health to improve, the top response was mental health. We still have some barriers to accessing mental health care in Wyandotte County, and that includes cost, access to services, not knowing where to get the services, wait lists, things like that. And then fourth and fifth were chronic disease and obesity. Obesity and chronic disease both have a lot of different variables that play into them in the county. So like, what does the built environment look like? Exercise, access to food, access to healthcare, things like that. Heart disease, diabetes, and kidney disease are some of the top causes of death in Wyandotte County. All right, so now we're going to kind of dig into what are some of those things that stop people from being healthy. The #1 thing that keeps people from being healthy in Wyandotte County is healthcare access. And we know that this is an issue because 19% of our survey respondents had a problem getting healthcare in the last year. And we know that 18.6% of Wyandotte County residents don't have health insurance. And when you break that out, those differences get really stark. So while only 6% of our white residents are uninsured, 16% of our Black residents are uninsured, and 36% of our Hispanic residents are uninsured. And we see that manifesting in delayed care and inability to get their medications. And you see that in these numbers here. We talk about why people weren't able to access care. The top reasons were cost, not being able to get appointments soon enough, and did not have insurance. And same for obtaining medication is cost of medication and not covered by insurance. All right, employment and income were the second top biggest health barriers in Wyandotte County, which makes sense because we know that being healthy is very expensive, getting the health care that you need, getting the preventative care, making time for working out, things like that. So what we saw was that 43% of survey respondents either disagreed or strongly disagreed with the prompt that I believe my community has enough jobs to pay enough money to live a healthy life. So that is also currently a CHIP area and probably will continue to be one, but that's being decided, and I'll get more into what I mean by CHIP in just a minute. All right, and the number 3 biggest health barrier is affordable housing. What do we mean by affordable? Affordable means you are spending 30% or less of your monthly income on your housing expenses, which includes rent or mortgage, plus BPU bills, plus gas bills. And what we know is that about 1/3 of our county is considered a cost burden for their rent or mortgage and other living expenses. And this takes away money from other necessities like food, healthcare, leisure time, things like that. It is also ranked as the 4th option for what would make their community healthier when we asked about what would make your community healthier. And this chart simply shows that nearly 50%, about 49% of our respondents said that in the last 12 months, they have been concerned about paying for their monthly expenses. All right, we've also been breaking out racism because we did have a couple of questions on racism because we've been trying to address that within the health department and understand how pervasive it is in Wyandotte County. And what we found was that 19% of respondents said that racism was among their top 3 barriers to health. Now that's not the top 5, I think that was number 6 of all of them, but what's important is that over 1/4 of our Black respondents said that they felt emotionally upset in the last 12 months because of how they were treated based on their race. And additionally, nearly 40%, thank you, you're good. Nearly 40% of Black respondents said that racism usually or always impacts their daily life. And this is compared to 22% of all respondents, 20% of Asian respondents, and 19% of Hispanic or Latino respondents. And the top ways that this racism manifested was in getting a job, being promoted, or buying a house or car, which kind of ties into a lot of the other health barriers that we talked about. One of the last questions we asked is because we want to know how our community feels is what do they feel like they need to make their community healthier? And what we see up top is that 1, everything is within percentage points of each other. So 31, 29, 29, 28. So there are lots of things that we can do to make our community healthier. But those top needs were stated as mental health services, safe places to walk and play, services or programs for disabled or elderly, and affordable housing or housing assistance. And this is information that we as the health department, coalitions, nonprofit organizations can take as we're making progress to work together to improve health in Wyandotte County. And so that's what we're going to do over the next year. We're going to look at our community assets and see how we can bring those together to, again, improve health in Wyandotte County. Finally, what's awesome about this year's comp plan, which I'm hoping you guys have heard about. I know that we host our plan meetings here on Tuesdays in this very room, but the health community health assessment and community health improvement plan will be a part of the planning KCK process, which is great because as we see our visions for a healthier or for a better Wyandotte in the future, part of that is going to be good health for everybody. And the next steps will be creating our community health improvement plan. The community health assessment feeds into the community health improvement plan, which will be a 5-year plan that we'll be developing this year. So we will be sending out more information about that as that progresses. And the next slide will kind of show what that process will look like. So we're currently in the stage where we're presenting the CHOT to community members, and then we're going to be developing our CHIP strategies this summer, and then we're going to be finalizing that this fall, and we'll probably return back here to tell all of you about it. All right, finally, we'll send out these links, but this is how you can look more at our community health assessment. There are several versions for however much information you want to process at once, because we know it can be a lot. So there is not only a full version, but there are summary sheets, and I've brought some printed out copies that are up front here. 1-page infographics that came out actually really cute. I like them a lot. And then an abridged version, which is about 30 pages. All right, I'm going to quickly shift gears because I'm excited about this project, but later on this summer, we're going to be mapping the urban heat island. So what is an urban heat island? It's a hotspot in the city that is hotter than other parts of the city due to lack of tree cover or impervious surfaces, big buildings, things like that. And this is important to health because it can cause heat, extreme heat can cause heat cramps, heat exhaustion, heat stroke. It can exacerbate chronic conditions, and it can just make being outside really unpleasant and dangerous. It can also increase energy burden for people as we're running our ACs more and more. We know that that can disproportionately impact parts of our county. So what we're going to do is put some data to see what the project will look like or what the heat map looks like. Oh. Okay, great. And it's going to kind of look like this. This is obviously not KCK. This is another city that has done this process. But we're going to be pulling in folks like you, our community scientists, who will hopefully volunteer to drive through their neighborhoods on one day this summer, what we deem the hottest day. We know we have a lot of those here. And it'll be a morning, afternoon, and evening drive where we attach sensors to people's cars, and then they get to drive around a circuit around their neighborhood and take the temperature, and it'll create a really cool map like this. So then we can do things like plan better to see where our cooling centers are, how we're shifting our built environment to accommodate these increasing heat activities and things like that. Yeah, and our volunteer registration form is actually open. Technically it's open. I'm going to start sending it out very soon, and I will send it out probably in minutes or however you guys do things. Great. So if anybody's interested in that, feel free to spread the word. I'm really excited about it. And that, I think, is my time. Thank you all very much. I have some contact information for folks. It's very small right now. That can be sent out. But basically, for any CHA questions, you can reach out to me or my boss, Elizabeth Groneweg, the chief epidemiologist. And then for any questions on the urban heat island map, you can also email me or my colleague, Gail Bergman, who is an environmental scientist. All right. Do we have any questions about any of the things I just threw at you guys? Perfect.
Okay.
So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Next up, we have Stephanie with the Community Development Department. She's going to go over the draft of the 2023 Annual Action Plan and public comment form.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to try to share my screen and we'll see how this goes. I feel like,
Give you permissions.
okay. I feel like I got really used to this when I was working from home, and then my brain dumped it all, like as soon as I came back to the office. So we'll see if I can figure this out.
When you do it almost every day and then you don't. Okay, I think you should be able to share now.
Ah, perfect. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, can you see the screen? Oh, let me see if I can put it in presenter mode. All right, and I just want to make sure you're seeing the slideshow and not the presenter side of the slideshow.
Yep, it looks like just the slideshow.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So my name is Stephanie Stauffer, and I work in the Community Development Department. And we want to talk about our 2023 Draft Annual Action Plan, which is out right now for review. But first, I want to start talking a little bit about what the Community Development Department does. And so we administer 3 grants that come from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development every year. And those grants are the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Program, and the Emergency Solutions Grant. And they total a little bit over $3.4 million for the upcoming program year. And the activities, like in whole, when you put all those grants together, include housing rehab, housing construction, public services for low-income households, and that can include folks who are unhoused, public infrastructure and public facilities like parks and sidewalks, and HUD defines public facilities and public infrastructure pretty broadly, so that can include all kinds of things. And then also fair housing education. And this isn't an exhaustive list of eligible activities, but this is what is most common for folks to implement in their communities. Some examples of some projects that we've done recently, you can see at the top left, there's that's Clifton Park. And so there we did some concrete work and some sidewalk installation there. On the bottom left, I hope I'm getting my directions correct, is a bathroom that we installed at City Park so that folks can use the restroom there. That really lovely red house is a house that we worked with a nonprofit developer to develop to sell for to a low-income household. And then this map here, there are 4 stars, and those are ongoing public facility projects that we're working on. So we are currently working on putting a disc golf course in at City Park in partnership with the Parks and Rec Department. At Clifton Park, we're getting ready to put in a spray park. And then in the Northeast, we are in the planning phases of some improvements to the Boston Daniels Park. And also we are improving the playground at Edgerton. And then this morning I realized that I didn't put any pictures of our largest program, which is our home repair program. And so that is a pretty important program that we provide for the community, and we serve between 80 to 100 households a year. And we can address issues like plumbing and sewer issues, roofs, electrical work, furnaces or heating systems, and also provide accessibility rehabilitations like wheelchair ramps, chair lifts, and bathroom modifications so that folks can live in their homes and be able to access their homes. A little bit of history about the CDBG program. That's our largest grant that we receive. It's been around for a really long time, so folks who have been following the grant probably know it's been around since 1975. And that was HUD's made that decision to consolidate a lot of grant programs together and create this really good, robust program that communities don't have to necessarily like fight for competitive funding, and they can take this money out and improve their communities. However, maybe the federal government hasn't necessarily kept the promise of that program over the years. And so we hear a lot from folks who say, we used to see this funding being used all over the place in our community, and now we don't. And some of that has to do with the fact that we just don't get as much funding as we used to get. And so since 1975, when you account for inflation, that the grants have been declined by 94%. And then just in the last 30 years, when you account for inflation, that's a 64% decrease. And so it's important to note that in 1975, our grants had a buying power of $35.6 million today. And when I think about the impact that we could have with that amount of money, it makes me like very sad. But so I think that I just wanted to touch on the history of the program and how it's changed over the decades. And so getting into what's in the annual action plan, if you look through the plan, it includes a summary of our stakeholder engagement, a review of our data and other plans. We looked at area master plans, we looked at the community health assessment, we looked at some of the plans for MARC, and then looked at a review of data. So a lot of census level data, HUD data, things like that. We include our priorities and goals for the year, and then also our funding allocations and a summary of the activities that we plan to undertake. The top 5 priorities that we plan to fund for the upcoming year are improving housing access and quality, providing housing services for folks who may be experiencing homelessness or who are at risk of homelessness, infrastructure and public facility improvements, public services, and then program administration and fair housing education. This is how we've budgeted our grants. So you can see that $1.1 million is set aside for CDBG housing programs, and the vast majority of that is for the home repair program. We set aside all but 10% of our home grant to subgrant to nonprofit developers to develop housing. And that's that number down there. CDBG public services, $338,000, and that includes a grant for the operations of the Willa Gill Center, a $20,000 grant to Livable Neighborhoods for their operating costs, and $170,000 for services for folks who are experiencing homelessness, and that will go towards operating the cold weather shelter this year. The last 2 years we operated a cold weather shelter. However, we were using a grant from the CARES Act, which will be expiring in the fall. And so we're planning to use CDBG to replace that grant. Then our ESG activities, which all but 7% of that is subgranted, or 7% of that is subgranted to nonprofit agencies who are providing homelessness services. CDBG public facilities, which will probably be some park projects. We'll work with the Parks Department to decide, what's on the docket. And then there's a portion that we keep for the operating cost of our department because we are 100% grant funded. And so just here's our timeline. So we're at May 25th, we've published this plan. And so we're at the point where we want to get people's feedback. And so you can let us know what you think 2 different ways. So there is going to be an online comment form where you can submit comments. And we will also be holding a public hearing on the 8th of June at the full Board of Commissioners meeting at 7 p.m. Once we gather all that public comment, we'll put it all together, we'll make our final adjustments to the plan and submit it to the commission. It'll run through the commission process. And then we'll submit it to HUD in late June, and then our program year starts in October. So if you want to learn more, I'll drop all these links in the chat when I'm done talking, but we have a webpage where you can see a summary of the plan, or if you want to read through the entire plan, it's kind of long, you're welcome to do that. There's a comment form and then also a link to learn more about commissioner meetings. And then I also have included the number for our home repair program. So if you or one of your neighbors may be interested, like you can just call our office and we'll get you started with the application process. And that's really all I have.
Great, thank you. Any questions online or in here for Stephanie?
I've got one.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
I got a question for Stephanie. Is the funding for the parks, does that have to be a public park or a park owned by the city, or can it be just any park in the city to apply for the improvements?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We work with our parks department, and really they're like the experts in the unified government when it comes to parks. And so they kind of help us make the decisions on what we're going to fund. Usually it's something that is been identified in the area master plan, or, you know, the Northeast Area Heritage Trail plan, those kinds of things. So I don't think we've really I don't know that we've ever funded a non-public park, or how that would work with the federal rules. It's a good question. It's something we could look into.
Okay, the reason I ask you that, because we have a park in my neighborhood here, and it's considered a private park, but it's open to the public. Public uses it all the time, and we've been in the process of now trying to get some outdoor fitness equipment or playground equipment or pickleball court. It's not a real big area, but it's been referred to in the past by people that come to visit as the do nothing park. We got a couple of dead oak trees I've been trying to get removed, and we're just trying to make the park look like a park to maybe invite more of the community members to come out and use the park and get exercise and remain active, especially the kids.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I actually am not sure, because funding that comes from the federal government has a lot of just bizarre rules. And so I don't know if it would be eligible for us to fund a private park. So I would just have to dig into the regulation and ask.
Okay, you need any information from me?
Yeah, I'll drop my contact information in the chat, and if you want to just send me an email, we can look into it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, anybody else have questions or comments?
This is Rachel, and I just have a quick question. Stephanie, with relation to the parks, I think that's of interest to many people. Do you feel like by the time this public comment opportunity closes that we will have a better idea of where the actual investment is going versus just a blanket, we're going to put it in Parks and Rec and that's it? I think that's important to this work, and when we talk to neighborhood groups and what communities want to see, I think having more clarity on where exactly the funds are going would maybe be more helpful than just saying, oh, we're giving $300,000 to public parks.
Yeah, that's a great point. So part of the thing is that, you know, in years past, we would be doing the UG budget process at the same time we're doing our consolidated plan or annual action plan process. And because of some changes to the state, like the budget process is delayed. And so a lot of times those details get worked out in the UG budget process and not the consolidated planning or annual action planning process. But I think that it's something that we're definitely, like, I understand why you would want to know, like, where is this money going? I mean, I hear that. And so I can try to push for some clarity, but at the end of the day, like through the budget process, you know, is really where that decision is made. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess even if it's not specific, I would argue they're in the east corridor of our community, or where are other parks similar to the work that's happening at Clifton Park, or like that it's in where maybe the amenity not as high, and so it's an added asset to already disadvantaged communities with relation to what we just heard from the health department in their presentation. So I'll circle back with you. I appreciate your response. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you cut out a little bit, so I just want to make sure I understand. So you're saying, were you saying that like if we could identify kind of the area, or like maybe not the specifics of what we're planning to do, but like generally, where is this money going, and making sure that it's going into an area where the most need is?
You are correct. That is what I said. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Yeah.
Is there questions? Thanks so much, Stephanie, for presenting, and we'll get she'll get information in the chat, but we'll also send it out in minutes. If you need it before then, we can get it to you. Just let us know. Okay, so next up we have our updates. We'll try to limit those to about 3 minutes. Please introduce yourself when you're providing the update so we know who you are. I mean, if people have been here enough times, they probably know, but it's always good to do an introduction. So I'll start with the mayor's office if anybody's on from the mayor's office.
Hello, how is everyone? It's good to see and hear from everybody, and really good information, hopefully, that you all have gotten from our UG staff here on some of the reporting. The biggest things that are coming up before unified government is really our budget process. 5 o'clock tonight, we do start our budget process conversation, or it's continued from last Thursday. So I encourage everyone to come out, or at least go online and watch and partake in the budget process. As we move forward, let myself and your commissioners know where you stand as far as your interests, your concerns, as far as these conversations with the budget, because it's really important as we move forward. I know our commissioners and myself, we are committed to at least trying to be fiscal responsible and move our budget, working with our new administrator on trying to avoid the 2026 challenge to where we could potentially be in the red. There's a lot of opportunities to find streamlined government, things for us to operate a little more efficiency, with a little more efficiency, and do things to where we can bring about the balanced budget that I know that we need here in Wyandotte County. So make sure that you stay on top of that, because I think moving forward, that's the big topic of discussion. For those you don't know, you haven't seen, David Johnston is our new administrator. We're glad to have him on board. One of the reasons that I recommended his selection to the full commission was just for that. He has a strong background in economic development as well as finance. And those are two things that really stood out to me because even though we're talking financials, one of the things, and we've heard it for years, is we've got to broaden our tax base here in Wyandotte County. And to do that, we need to bring in real businesses that are going to offer real opportunities for jobs and economic growth. And we need to anchor our residents right here in Wyandotte County. And so economic development is really key when we talk about broadening our tax base, to make sure that we have the types of revenues to do the things that that you all have come to expect from your unified government. And so we're excited to have him on board. He's a people's person. He wants to be out in the community. So if you want him to come speak to your group or your organization or support any initiatives that you have going on, he's made it known that he's that person, and he enjoys getting out. And so take every opportunity you have to hold him to it, and let him share his vision, what he wants to do administratively on trying to help your unified government be able to provide the good services, resources that I know that we all come to expect, and a lot of our residents say they deserve. So we're glad to have him on board. There are a lot of economic development proposals that will be coming forward before unified government, everything from the eastern portion of Kansas City, Kansas. I know the RFQs went out and they have closed for both Indian Springs, 4th and Minnesota Avenue, as well as 18th and Wendero. And what stood out to me was the overwhelming influx of developers with proposals, almost 80. That shows that there is huge interest in individuals wanting to do business right here in Wyandotte County, and not just out west, but east of 635. And so that was a welcoming and to me a surprising, just unexpected for me, just proposals that just came forward of people that really are showing interest in what I view is really the golden jewel of Wyandotte County is east of 55th Street. Because if you look at Kansas City, Missouri, downtown, they're pretty much landlocked. They're building up, they're looking into the bottoms now, and they're building north, they're building south, and they're even building out in Leavenworth County west of us. But that area of going east from 55th Street, there's a lot to be desired. And you're talking about Rosedale, Armourdale, downtown, Argentine, as well as the Northeast. There's a lot of opportunities there, especially when you talk about over 4,500 land bank properties that offer real opportunities for those economic development types of proposals that we'd like to see. So we're excited about that. The Rock Island Bridge is moving. They're planning for an opening of next year. There was somewhat of a soft ribbon cutting. The governor came in town along with a lot of other dignitaries and VIPs, folks in the industry that really kind of launched the bridge project. And so we're excited about that and what it could bring along the riverfront, along Kansas, the Kansas River, and other economic development spinoffs that could come from that. And so there are conversations about the Quindaro Ruin that you will see moving forward, that we'll be pushing on, just trying to see where we're at, what opportunities exist moving forward, and how we can leverage that site to become the economic driver that so many envision for that area and for that site. I've had talks with Emmanuel Cleaver. He's interested, as well as Sharice Davis. They're interested. Our Lieutenant Governor is interested well, and they're kind of just waiting on us to bring forth a good proposal that really could hopefully do something really exciting on both sides of the state line when you talk about the Quindaro Ruins and the historic significance of that. And so those conversations will be forthcoming. We're looking at some small business economic summits as well that will be spearheaded from both my office and WIDEC that we're looking at that hopefully can really look at women and minority businesses and how we can just hit reset on making sure that those that have a desire to have a seat at the table are left in the conversation and have the same level of equitable opportunities moving forward, as well as entrepreneurs and small businesses, at least trying to find ways where we can streamline the process to make it a lot more easier for folks that want to do business in Wyandotte County to be able to do business. Small business and entrepreneurs are economic drivers if you look at the statistics for a lot of communities. And so we want to make sure that those individuals that have that desire to set up shop here in Wyandotte County, that we make it as easy of a process as possible. Sharon Reed with our procurement department has really worked hand in hand with the city of Kansas City, Missouri's team, and they've come up with an online database that can help with that. If you missed that, the last commission meeting, you can go pull that up online on her website, and trying to really digitize things and have a one-stop shop online for those entrepreneurs and businesses to get them all the information they need that can hopefully walk them through that process in a way that we just haven't seen here at the unified government. So we're really proud of the work that she's done. Those are the biggest things that I can think of moving forward. As always, if you need me to come talk to your community group, or if you need information, or you need me to come support any type of events that you have, you can always call my office here at 573-5010. I enjoy getting out in the community. I enjoy answering questions, and they don't have to be soft questions. They can be hard questions. I don't shy away from the hard questions or anything like that, but anything I can do to answer questions or be supportive, or get you the type of information, or at least bridge you the information here at the Unified Government. Please see me as a resource and invite me out, because I want to get out as much as I can to let you know that you do have a mayor that wants to be engaged and involved in whatever's going on in the community. And hopefully take your information and work with our commissioners to bring your whatever your opinions are forward, and to hopefully work with you all on finding real solutions to problems. So those are some of the immediate things that I can think of. I don't want to take up too much time, because I can keep going and going and going. And I want to stop and just see if there's any quick questions that you may have for me.
Thank you. Thank you for the update, Mayor Garner. We'll go on to the Kansas City, Kansas School District USD 500.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All righty. Thank you. I just have a few items to share with you. I'm Edwin Birch, the Executive Director of Communications and Marketing for KCKPS. Also joining me after this will be Marco Johnson, who is the Director of Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. He has something to share with you as well. We just completed all of our graduations this year. It was really awesome, and I just want to share some great news with you all. Schlegel High School, what they have provided me in dollars and scholarships, they have received more than $1 million in scholarships this year, with the band earning $542,000 of those $1 million scholarships. So that was really awesome news. J.C. Harmon earned a combined total of almost $45 million in scholarships. Sumner Academy, $120 million in scholarships. Washington High School, $37 million, and Wyandotte High School, more than $62 million in scholarships. So just want to congratulate all of our awesome students, all of our high school seniors, who the hard work and their families that they put together for their senior year. So this is great news for us, and we will continue to share this important news. I also want to take a moment to thank Mayor Gardner and JD Rios and DA Mark Dupree and Jonathan Carter for joining us and supporting our students and families at all of our graduations that we had this year. So it was really good seeing them up on the stage. We are in the planning stages, again, just in the planning stages of putting together a fentanyl campaign for the next school year. And again, I'm bringing this up because we're having internal discussions. Nothing has been decided, but I'm sharing this with you all because we know this issue with fentanyl and drugs is not a KCKPS problem. It's a community problem, and our schools are a reflection of the community that they serve. So the district cannot fight drugs, cannot address fentanyl alone. We're gonna need the community's help and support in getting the messages out and trying to educate our students and fight this together. This is fentanyl has no color lines, no barriers. It impacts so many families. We just had an event at Gloria Willis a little more than 3 weeks ago, and there was a parent there that shared their story about losing their son due to fentanyl usage. So again, we will be, once we get our plans together, you'll start hearing more about it, but we would like the support of all of our community partners, agencies, organizations, faith-based community to be part of this effort to educate our community and families about this dangerous drug. Also, I would like to share that we have some new hires within our district. We filled 4 key positions for the beginning of the 2023-24 school year. Mr. Cole Amaya will become the new director of the Secondary Diploma Plus program. Mr. Cole Amaya is currently the principal at Washington, so he will be coming to central office and taking on that role beginning July 1st. To take his place, Lene Nip, who is currently right now the assistant principal of Washington High School, she will become the interim principal. And then we have hired Ashford Collins will become the new principal of Eisenhower Middle School, and Dustin Wiley will be the interim principal at Lindbergh Elementary School. So we want to welcome all of those, the staff in their new positions and those who are joining us. So you can find more information about our new hires on our website at kansascityschools.org. I want to thank the Sheriff Soptic and the Sheriff's Department for allowing one of our students to be the first and only cadet to graduate from the inaugural correctional officers program. Brian Rios is a senior from Washington High School, and this correctional officers program allows students to take part in a specialized learning pathway where they have a chance to become corrections officers within the Wyandotte County Sheriff's Department. Now, the program is a paid position for student applicants who can receive close to 320 hours of training. Again, I want to thank the organizations like the Sheriff's Office and the District Attorney's Office that continue to work collaboratively with KCKPS to enhance the educational experiences of our students. Again, these type of partnerships are awesome and we appreciate it. And if there are any of you who would like to volunteer, to come into our schools, we can provide information for you where you can sign up through our volunteer program. So that's all I have to share right now. And up next, we have summer school coming up and we're looking forward to that. And I'm sure Marco has something that he would like to share as well.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Marco Johnson. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing here at KCKPS. School is just coming to an end, but we're already working on the next school year. Our HR department has a lot of events coming up in the month of June, but they're going to kick things off with a career fair next Tuesday, May 30th, here at Central Office from 3 to 6 p.m. They are looking for teaching and non-teaching positions. So if you know someone who's interested in education, who's interested in joining our team, now is the time to let them know about it. This is a great organization, great people. And of course, as you all know, you're a part of this community. We want to make sure that our students are educated with great people. So if you know someone, please let them know that we have a career fair next Tuesday, May 30th from 3 to 6 here at Central Office. Again, teaching and non-teaching positions. And I'll hop over to summer learning program. That's going to be from June 5th to June 28th. It's deadline has passed, but there's going to be great things for our students to learn or continue to learn throughout the summer. We'll be sending out information about bus schedules and all of that here in the next day or so. So just keep in mind, and then you can always find this information on our website. So just hop on that website, take a look at what's going on. We have a what's called our newsroom. Lots of good information about what our students have been doing, what our staff have been doing. So just bookmark our webpage so you'll know what's going on. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to see everybody.
Now we'll have updates from Turner School District.
Hi, I'm Lauren Ailey. I'm the Director of Public Relations with Turner. I do not have much for you today. We graduated 266 seniors last week, so that was really exciting. All going on to do a variety of wonderful things. We'll be starting summer school here in the next week or so. We are currently hiring for some teaching positions, as well as, of course, bus drivers and paraprofessionals and all those openings that we have. So that's all I have for you today.
Great, thank you. Anybody here from the police department, Kansas City, Kansas Police Department? I don't see anybody. And then Neighborhood Resource Center, Greg was not able to make it and he didn't have any updates. So we'll go on to Board of Public Utilities.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? I was hoping to be there in person this morning. We had kind of a issue come up, so I'm doing one of my favorite things to do, and that's manage issues with reporters. Always fun. Hey, look for this coming out in the mail. Our BPU connection that will be hitting mailboxes starting Saturday. This is we do it twice a year newsletter, goes out to every one of our customers. This one has a lot of information about our water quality report, which we do every year. Talks about upcoming possible rate hearings and possible rate adjustments that'll be happening in mid-June. We have a lot of energy efficiency tips, how to save energy usage this summer, water consumption this summer as well, and also information about utility assistance. We'll also be sending this out electronically, and we're going to start sending information out electronically to our customers. Those that have signed up for electric bill pay, and we have email addresses, and we can save a lot on postage, and then people can read them when they want. And that's all I have. I'm losing my voice today. I apologize. So, any questions?
No, thank you.
All right, take care, all.
Actually, I do have a question. Could I
Yeah.
get an electronic copy, please?
Yeah, yeah, we'll have to get you signed up. There's a link on our website. You can sign up for it that way, because I don't have access to the database for all that, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'll send you the link to that, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
You betcha.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody here from the Sheriff's Department?
Oh, guys, I'll send it to everybody in the chat, the link, okay?
That sounds great. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anyone from the Sheriff's Department available? I think so. District Attorney's Office.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'll be brief. I am not District Attorney Dupree, so I will be much shorter. So well, we continue to hire. We're looking for attorneys and admin personnel as well, and you can find those jobs on the careers page. We're also looking for more members for the community liaison board. We have plenty, but we'd love more. If you go to the district attorney's page on the UG website, you'll find the application form there, and fill it out. We'd love to have you. And we would also like to send a shout out to USD 500 and Turner Schools. Thank you very much for having us out to all of the graduations and seeing our young scholars, doing so well, finishing the 4 years, and a lot of them moving on to 2-year or 4-year schools, going on to the military trade schools. We just have such wonderful students here in the county, and they are to be celebrated, and we should do that at every turn. And finally, if you'd like us to come out to your neighborhood group meeting or your event, you can certainly do that. We go to 1 million of them, and we'd love to go to 1 million more. Just give me a call, Jonathan Carter. My number is 913-573-2849. That's 913-573-2849. And if there are no questions, that's all I have. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Next up is the fire department, and I got an email from Chief Droppelman that said he wasn't able to make it, but he did want to let you know that Livable Neighborhoods will be sending out a summer grilling safety flyer in our newsletter. And then let's see here. Oh, he said that there might be some people that might have questions or concerns regarding the large recycling fire that happened last Friday in the Armourdale area. And he reports that city entities have a meeting over this at 12 o'clock noon today to discuss the event. And he has been assured by the EPA and KDHE that none of the preliminary tests that were taken for air quality and runoff water were above acceptable limits for any contaminants. So I'm sure there will be more information to come with reports to that, but that is what he had to offer in his email. Next up, we have the Department of Planning and Urban Design. I don't know if they have any updates today.
I do. Morning, everybody. Gunnar Han, I'm the Director of Planning and Urban Design for the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas. Good to see everybody. I also apologize for not being there in person. We've been running around a little bit, so I'm going to try not to steal Livable Neighborhoods thunder too much with some of my updates. I just wanted to remind everybody that 2023 is the year of visioning. We had a very successful Vision Summit last week. About 140-ish people showed up. That is not the first, and it will not be the last opportunity to engage in this process. If you have been tracking us, the month of May, we've been holding an event called Pizza and Plannings. The last one is next week, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. noon in this room. Again, we're going to be working in collaboration with a lot of UG departments, including Livable Neighborhoods, to do a training. Over the summer, we want to really sort of meet people where they are. And so the folks who have been engaging with us in those pizza and planning efforts, we're going to do a quick training and have them help us carry that message out to their neighborhoods and communities. So what I would ask of everybody in the meeting today is, if you want us to come to your specific NBR or neighborhood meeting or other advocacy group or nonprofit or whatever meeting, please let us know when those are, and we will have folks that will come to you and talk about where we are with the planning process, what the next steps are, and the opportunities that I think having a comprehensive plan and a true vision for our community means for everybody. So lots of neighborhood roundtables this summer. We're looking to the fall to have some other another sort of large event where we call the folks to us as opposed to reach you where you are. So stay tuned. You can go to wycokck.org/plan KCK. It's the repository of all the information that we have to date and any upcoming events, so on and so forth on the website. So again, that's wycokck.org/plan KCK is the repository of all information as it relates to the comprehensive plan update. So with that, I'll say thank you. And if anybody has any questions, let me know.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Connor, it might be good just to give people a little bit of a heads up on what's coming with short-term rentals.
So last month, the Board of Commissioners approved a new short-term rental ordinance. This is the first time that short-term rental has been defined in our zoning code. And so the motion for the approval, at least from the Planning Commission before the Board of Commissioners, but carried on by the Board of Commissioners, is for us to report back in a year. So this first year of a short-term rental ordinance, we got a bunch of different things that we're trying to do. Namely, we're doing a lot of training inside unified government to bring everybody up to speed on the new ordinance and how we're going to implement it. Secondly, we're going to do a outreach and education push really over the course of the next year, but specifically in the next couple of days and weeks. I think we're putting together an event in Rosedale to do a specific training in partnership with the Rosedale Development Association. So more details on that will be out soon or have already gone out. I think they're coming out soon. And then after we do a concentrated engagement push at the beginning of, let's say, June, now to the beginning of June, later in June, we're going to start going out and doing what we call a zoning blitz and identifying all the folks who have short-term rentals without the required permits, be they a special use permit. The new ordinance created an administrative path for certain types of short-term rentals. But again, that still requires a review and approval from the unified government. So we're going to test this out, see how it works over the next year, and then we're going to come back and report back to the Planning Commission Board of Commissioners sometime in, I think, that would make it April of 2024 with any recommendations for moving forward.
All right, thank you. Let's see, next we have the health department, which we heard from, but are there any other updates you know about that folks need to know?
I will do a very speedy update. Your community health improvement process planning that's coming up. And I was thinking, I don't think I have anything else.
Sure, that's okay. I just wanted to check. And then last on the list is livable neighborhoods. So as Gunnar had mentioned, that livable neighborhoods, Mina and I have been helping them and involved in the planning process. We want to really encourage community engagement. So if you haven't been involved in it yet and you're not sure how to get involved, let me know and we're happy to plug you in or try to see where it might be best for you to fit into that process. Another thing is we're wanting to reach people that we're not normally reaching. A lot of times we see the same people at all the meetings, which it's great. I'm glad all the same people are involved, but we want to reach out to people who maybe their voices aren't heard or maybe they're not at the table or don't feel like they're invited. So if you know those folks, if you have those folks in your neighborhood, reach out to them, personally invite them. I know we share stuff on online and flyers, and sometimes people don't see them or ignore them, don't have access to the internet. So sometimes a personal invitation helps out and saying, hey, come along with me to this thing. The other thing is our home repair program we have. It was mentioned that community development has a home repair program, but Livable Neighborhoods also has a home repair program. Do you want to briefly talk on like a little bit about the home repair program, Nina?
Sure. So we serve low-income homeowners in the Wyandotte County area. If you own a home and you live there and you need home repairs, please reach out to me. My personal number, well, my office personal number is 913-573-8740, and I can hopefully serve you and get you some home repairs.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to leverage our community partners as best as we can. So if you qualify for another program, oftentimes we'll refer you there first, but our funding that we have is a little less restrictive than maybe like community development funding. So we try to fill in those gaps where people maybe don't qualify for other community programs. The last couple of things that I have on here are we have yard signs. If you don't have one and you'd like one, take some. We even have more in the office. I just didn't hold them all down here. And then there was a sign-in sheet going around. I think I forgot to send it around. So if you haven't signed in, please do. We record those numbers to see how many people are coming to our meetings. I'll start it. And that is all I have right now for Livable Neighborhoods. Now we have time for community announcements. If anybody online or in the room has something they want to share or questions or anything like that. Yeah, Donnie.
Kensington community is gonna have a cleanup day in the neighborhood. It'll be June 24th, which is on Saturday. The boundaries will be from 29th to 38th on Wood. And the meeting place will be Grace Lutheran Church, 3333 Wood Avenue. So that'll be cleaning up the community on Saturday, June 4th. If you need exercise, come on out and walk with us. Bring gloves, comfortable walking shoes, and if you have the little pickers, something to pick up the trash with. Also, there's going to be a NORCAN training, NARCAN training. This is going to be on a Tuesday, May 30th from 3:30 to 4:30. And then on Wednesday, May 31st from 3 to 4. This training is going to cover how the use of the overdose signs of drugs and symptoms, how to prevent overdose and overview of local overdose data. It's going to be held in the Public Health Department. It's going to be at the Juvenile Detention Center. Address is 738 Ann Street. Is the new Juvenile Detention Center, which is downtown. The instructor is going to be Erica Holiday. I think that would be something everybody would really get something out of. And please be on time. This is a timely matter. So that's going to be on May 30th and May 31st. And Kayla, I left some flyers with her. If you're interested, she can get you the flyers. And the time for 30th, which is on a Tuesday, will be 3:30 to 4:30. And on Wednesday, it's going to be from 3 to 4. And that's at 738 and KCK. That's across the street from the courthouse. That's all I have.
Perfect, thank you. And we'll put this flyer also in the e-newsletter that gets sent around. You're welcome to pick some up and I can make more copies if we need to as well. Yeah, Paul.
We got to save the date for everybody. It's August 1st. We're going to have Night Out Against Crime again this year. It's going to be at the community college on the main campus. We're not sure which building we're going to be in this year. But it'll be from 5 to 8 o'clock on August the 1st. So save the date and you'll get more information as we get the information together.
Perfect, thank you.
This is Rose with Strawberry Hill Neighborhood Association, and I already put in the chat information about our upcoming pub crawl, how to buy tickets and be a sponsor. It's June 24th. Thanks.
Anybody else have any announcements or questions, anything they'd like to share? Rachel, go ahead.
I apologize. I am having technical difficulties today. All right, so I have 3 separate announcements for 3 different things I got going on. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge Kiwanis Rotary Club will be hosting a bike rodeo on June 3rd at KCK Community College. Feel free to check out our Facebook page or email a Kiwanis member. I'm sure you all know one for more details about that event. Second, I just want to acknowledge that next month is Pride Month, as well as the celebration of Juneteenth. There are lots of community events taking place. I believe one on 5th Street, Village Initiative is hosting an event as well. So we all know the diversity that Wyandotte County brings. And so I encourage you all to get out and celebrate and join those events. I will also pass those along to the folks at Livable Neighborhoods to share in the e-newsletter as well. So just a great opportunity to celebrate the diversity that Wyandotte County has. And then last, I just want to announce that the long-awaited community conversations around addressing homelessness in Wyandotte County will begin June 1st through the 10th at various locations around Wyandotte County, some at our public libraries, a community church. The first one will take place next Thursday, June 1st at the Housing Authority. This is an opportunity to understand the data around our houseless community here in Wyandotte County and what we're seeing, an opportunity to understand more about the services currently available, an opportunity to identify and understand more around the needed strategies as well as those currently being considered and implemented to join the fight to end homelessness here in Wyandotte County. We will have times for question and answers, as well as thanks to some funding made available by United Way of Greater Kansas City. We'll be able to provide some meals and t-shirts. And so I really just encourage all of you, if you have the opportunity to come out and share your opinions, as well as hear what is being shared. We greatly appreciate it. I forgot to note this event is being put on by the CHIP Safe and Affordable Housing Action Team. And so if you have any questions about any of the things I mentioned or that event particularly, feel free to send me an email at rachel@crosslines.org. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah. Okay, Donnie, go ahead.
Also, I wanted to announce Juneteenth. That's going to be Saturday, June 17th. It's going to be off of 5th Street. They're going to have a parade and festival. It's a free event. They're going to have rides, live music, games, vendors, food, and the parade starts at 10 o'clock. So that'll be Saturday, June 17th.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, if nobody else has anything, thank you for coming. We'll get all of this compiled into some minutes and get those links sent out to everyone. All the flyers and everything that have been discussed, we'll get those in the e-news. If you have flyers or information you want shared out in our e-newsletter, just send us an email. I'll type it in the chat, but it's livableneighborhoods@wykokck.org. Both Mina and I have access to that one. And if everything goes there, then we have less of a chance of losing it in our other inboxes. So thank you all. Feel free to reach out if you need anything, and we will be in touch and see you next month in June. All right, thanks, bye.